Having been vaguely suicidal in various stages of my life for almost my entire life, I've struggled with like depression and anxiety and panic in varying degrees. Sometimes music is your soundtrack when you need to wallow, and sometimes music becomes this communal experience that for me has reminded me of what's worth sticking around for when that's been a question.
You cite music and your love of music as being perhaps one saving thought for you, the idea of not hearing the great song again.
There are songs that I now love that remind me of feeling really, really strong in an otherwise really, really difficult situation. I think I'd been depressed probably my entire life. I struggled for, I don't know, it feels really funny to use the past tense, it feels disingenuous. I struggle still with the question of suicide because it's something that I don't know, was more acute in my life before. I definitely attempted. When it got worse was when I went into the hospital. It's like 3 years ago.
You put yourself in the hospital?
Yeah, I did. I was getting really, really close to doing something very, very dangerous, and I just changed my mind at the last minute. I spent 2 months in the psych ward. I know, actually, without that, I might not be here talking to you, or I might have a very different story to tell.
How's music impacted your sort of mental health?
Music has been pretty central to, I think, like recovery process and also just processing having, I think, various diagnoses. I've had a PTSD diagnosis for a long time. It can really alter your memory and the way that memory functions. And so music ends up being this way that I can kind of bookmark periods in my life that are otherwise kind of hard to access.
Right. It's like a trigger. When you hear something, it kind of fills the gap your brain won't otherwise recall.
Yeah, it can take you back to a place that's harder to visit.
Mm.
And it also, I think, it's worked in like the opposite way too, where it's taken me back to places that were maybe joyful that I had forgotten about until I heard a certain song. For me, I think I was dealing with a lot of really overwhelming emotions just due to various instabilities, and the music affords you this external expression of like rage that you can't equivocate, and it sort of makes what's in your body already feel a little bit more true when you hear it from this outside source.
So how did you get involved with Sounds of Saving?
One of the co-founders, Charlie Gross, I actually met him in my outpatient treatment that was directly after my hospitalization. We started working on a few photo projects together, and when he and Nick, the other co-founder of Sounds of Saving, got together and started putting together events, they asked me to be a part of it.
I love the idea of using music as a way to connect and to relay messages of hope. And that's what SOS was founded on, creating videos of artists telling their own personal stories of their mental health struggles and playing a song that helped them through something.
So it's like the medium is the message, having a musical component, but then also having a discussion about the things that are coming out of the music. So we had this idea of calling them feedback sessions.
I think that what's been really great about these events is that it does really foster a sense of community. Sort of speak out loud in front of a crowd about it, and then to have other people share with me that they were dealing with similar things. It made me kind of feel, I think, just validated in knowing that this is something that other people struggle with as well.
It bothers me that there's like young people out there that think that that is the sort of precursor or footprint to great lyrics in a song, or photography, or artistry, or writing. You don't have to be miserable to be a great artist.
It goes back to this idea maybe that your mental illness is the entirety of who you are. And in reality, your depression is like one very small part of what makes you who you are. Like you will not be a different, less interesting person if you go to therapy and if you figure out how to make life a little bit easier for yourself. All of the things that you were making art about before, they might change, but you're still you. You'll still be able to create. You just gotta trust.
And what is the relationship between writing poetry and your sort of mental health and wellness journey?
There's a lot that I write about depression and about, as you say, like feeling like you have a broken brain. Now I'm afraid of everything and everyone looks at me. I don't know who I am except when I'm hiding.
Your story and these stories of the mental health plight are so powerful. You are a freaking superhero to me. Like, I think those of us that struggle with mental health on any level, to me, it's a badge of honor, and it's like my superpower. Like, I have a superpower.
I think like one of the things that made things a little bit easier to deal with, like, I'm gonna have PTSD my whole life. Depression, recovery from it is completely nonlinear, and I can't pretend that I won't be there again. Knowing that it's something that is being like more discussed right now and is being more prioritized in the public conversation gives me a lot of hope.
It's okay to not be okay. What do you say to somebody who's just having a tough go at things right now?
I would say that reaching out to whoever you possibly can is really important. As much as it might seem impossible to ask for help, or you might feel as though you're being burdensome, I can guarantee no one is anyone else's burden. We all exist to help each other and to get each other through. I think also just seeing if you can get through the next 5 minutes. It becomes really tempting to try to answer these grand questions about what is worth living for and why should I try. And, I don't really have any good answers for that because I've asked myself those questions. But usually getting through the next 5 minutes or the next 30 seconds even will bring me to another moment where I'm not asking that question because I don't feel as much as though I need to, I don't feel like I need to answer it.
You've decided to go back to school to become a therapist. Is that true?
That is, yeah. I was thinking a lot about, once this is all over, where do I want to apply my energy to sort of be of, I think, like the most use to my community. I've always really enjoyed speaking to other people, and I mean, like, right now this is like a really, really great conversation. I could talk about mental health all day long.
Me too. I'm telling you, you are going to be my therapist.
Listen, you're first on the list.
I mean, you're going to be so good at it. You're so easy to talk to, and you talk about this stuff in a way that I want the world to hear it. And you have so many tools you can share with people. You're going to be a killer therapist.
Thank you. I really hope that's true. Sometimes I get like bogged down thinking about where all this time spent in this depressed state has gotten me. And one way to sort of alchemize it has been writing poetry. And I feel like another way to alchemize it might be just sort of using it to help other people if I can.